Welcome to Fanboy Films. This is E-Rock once again. I've been doing a series of debrief videos all about the Late Night War series that I've been putting together, but now I'd like to go back and look at the early days of Fanboy Films. If you look back, the very first video I did was in February of 2007, which was just over a year since YouTube launched officially. What I remember from back then were trailer recut videos were kind of making the rounds on the internet, even maybe before YouTube. Showing up on websites or whatever, getting linked from here to there. For example, the one that sticks in my mind the most was the Sleepless in Seattle recut, where Sleepless in Seattle is a romantic comedy with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, but somebody had made a trailer recut to look like it was a psychological thriller like Fatal Attraction, with Meg Ryan as like a stalker who's crazy. And that's the one that I really remember first, and it might have appeared on TV somewhere also, as like it's the new thing, people are recutting trailers. And of course there were more famous ones, probably like the Scary Mary Poppins recut, or the Shining Recut, which is great. And that's sort of the kind of thing I wanted to get into. That's not exactly what I did for my first one. My first trailer was just recutting a trailer for one movie in the style of another movie. It's just, you know, when you start out, you kind of just copy other people's stuff and see what works. I remember I really liked the Kill Bill trailer, and with the whole music, the battle without honor or humanity. And so for some reason, I just got it in my head to recut the Superman 3 trailer in that same style. Because Superman 3, I think, was kind of a popular movie when I was a kid. I saw it when I was like 8 or 10, and it was fantastic. You know, he's turning a tornado upside down, and the don't walk and the walk sign guys are fighting each other. It doesn't make any sense, doesn't make a lick of sense, but it was funny when you're 8. And when those of us grew up, it was popular to look back at that movie and say it was junk. So it was kind of fun to recut it and try to take the cool bits out of it and sort of make it look like it might be a cool movie. Everyone remembers the Junkyard Fight. That was perfect. You know, some of the stuff with the computer at the end is kind of cool, but that was my first trailer. I think I remember it going together very quickly. Just, you know, recutting something to the exact frame and trying to match, you know, that's why at the beginning I have the trailer, and then at the end I have the trailer compared to the original Kill Bill trailer, so you can see it's just shot for shot, cut for cut, exactly the same until the very end. So that was my first experiment, and of course you can see it's in low quality. I probably downloaded the trailers off of YouTube. So yeah, that was my first entry, and I think it went together pretty quickly, like in one sitting or one evening or something. So then I thought this might be a thing I do. I might make little YouTube videos. The next one I did was a couple months later. It probably took me that couple months to put it all together. My Star Trek, The Next Generation, Dallas mashup, which was inspired by someone else, another YouTube user at the time called Morley or Morlice. I think Morley. Which unfortunately I don't think is on YouTube anymore. I wasn't able to find it recently. But it was somebody who had just taken the Dallas music and had cut the Star Trek clips to it, but it was all straight cuts. There were no visual effects or anything. And I thought, well, I have professional editing equipment. I can do that better. That's the kind of thing you sort of get away from later. It's sort of maybe bad etiquette to one-up somebody and say, I like your idea, but I can do it better. But at the time I did it, mostly it was because when you would do each character intro and credit, the original video just had like one picture of Captain Picard, and I knew I could do the three-way split and have, you know, 3 pictures of Picard with moving video on each one, which, you know, people that were just cutting stuff on Windows Movie Maker or iMovie probably didn't have that capability yet, so that was something that I could improve upon. That was the only reason to do it, was to improve upon it. And as you'll note, there's a lot of things in this video. There's a lot of clips that were not from Next Generation. They were from Deep Space Nine or Voyager or one of the movies. And that's because I was just working with whatever low quality clips I could find on YouTube at the time. And that whole opening part, which is just kind of like in the Dallas theme, it's showing scenic landscape shots of Dallas, the city. I thought I'd be showing scenic landscape shots of the Alpha Quadrant, you know, all the different parts of it. So that sort of made sense to me. If I redid it, I would probably only use clips from Next Gen. You'll also see not all of them are framed correctly. Some of them are letterboxed at top and bottom, some of them aren't. And I would clean that all up if I was going to do it again. I would do it all in HD if I was going to do it again. So, which maybe I'll do someday just to clean it up. But that was fun, and that was definitely my most watched video for a long time. And it must be popular enough. I believe one of the comments in the early years, I mean, this is 12 years ago, somebody said that it was mentioned in some kind of British science fiction magazine or something. I don't know which magazine. I never saw it. If anybody has seen it, hey, let me know. I know there's at least 3 other copies of my video on YouTube currently. Other users took my video and took my video treatment of it but added different music or something, so that's cool. At least 2 of them gave me credit. I think one of them didn't, so I guess that's flattering, and like I said, it was my most watched video for a long time. My 3rd video was kind of inspired by a number of things. The Vanilla Ice Queen mashup. First of all, obviously, it's the most obvious mashup you could do because everybody knew that Vanilla Ice had stolen the melody or the rhythm from the Queen song, Queen and David Bowie song. So that was already like a famous case of 2 songs having the same music and different lyrics. And then one of the things I discovered on the early YouTube days were song mashups. You know, they would take the music from one song and the lyrics from another song. I was interested in that, but I didn't really have access. I don't know where people would get clean vocal tracks. It's a lot easier to find clean instrumental of a song with no vocals, but harder to find clean vocal track with no instruments. So I couldn't really find the bits and pieces I would want to be mashing up songs. But this is why this one became such an obvious first attempt, because they're both the same song. I could just sync up the 2 songs and then just cut from one to the other. And one thing you'll notice, I guess, is that underneath all the parts where Vanilla Ice is rapping, I did add a lot of guitar, a lot of instrumental parts from the Queen song into the Vanilla Ice, so it's not just one music or the other, it's both of them combined, like all the time. I was also inspired by a comic book artist called Eric Larson, who did a comic called The Savage Dragon. He's still doing it. He's been doing it for like 20 years. And it was one of my favorites. And one of the things that I remember he said on his website was that, like at Christmas, he would take and do like a mixtape CD for his family. He would find all these obscure Christmas songs and he would put them together onto a CD, and he would create his own artwork because he would draw, you know, he draws comics, so he would draw a cool cover for it. And I thought that was cool, and just something to give out to, 10 or 20 people. You're not making money off of it, it's just for fun. So I thought, because I discovered these song mashups on YouTube, and none of my friends or any of the people I worked with seemed to be aware of the genre, of the format, I thought it was kind of neat. And it was mostly mashing up old songs they would be familiar with, but they wouldn't be familiar with the mashups. So I went ahead and made a CD, kind of like Eric Larson. I'm like, it's fun to sort of curate a playlist of songs. I searched hundreds of mashups to find like 10 or 12 that I thought were actually good. And then I made artwork for it. But I thought it would be better if I was going to present something to actually contribute to it myself with my own mashup. And so that's when it really all came together, and I thought I'll do the Vanilla Ice, Queen David Bowie mashup, and put it on the CD with a bunch of other mashups, and just, share it with 10 or 20 people and just say, hey, this is fun. So that's where that came from. And that became, my #1 video for the next however many years. It's still my #2 video with just over 1 million views, just right behind the Conan Leno War. Definitely that was like one of the best videos I did. It would be fun to redo it with better music tracks, with better video. The one that probably wouldn't, there's that little tiny piece in there from I worked at a Fox TV station, and there was a Fox special, I think it was called Hit Me Baby One More Time, and it was bringing back old one-hit wonders to perform their hit, and Vanilla Ice came on and performed Ice Ice Baby, and there's a little tiny chunk where he goes, it's right in the middle of the song, and he says, say Ice Ice Baby, or something like that. And that's taken from that TV special, which I'm probably not going to find a good HD, or not a HD, but probably not even a good clean SD DVD of it. It's probably just only going to be on the internet. Also, it was the first video I placed on a website. I don't know if it's still relevant to anybody, but it was called mashupcharts.com, where people who had made mashup videos and posted it onto one of the video hosting sites like YouTube could link their video onto mashupcharts.com, and I guess people would go on there and watch mashups, and they would get rated and ranked and all that. I believe at one point I was up to like 150 in the rankings. Now I'm down around 1,600 out of, I've seen at least 27 or 2,800 on there. I think there's more. I think at some point there was like 20,000, so I don't know if they're all still on that website. I mean, I know the website is still there. I don't know how many mashup videos are on it, but... So the Ice Under Pressure video had come out like a year after my first 2 videos, and then within that same month, I think a couple weeks later, I popped out the Star Trek Voyager / Baywatch video. This is kind of just doing the same thing as the Next Gen Dallas. reimagining the credits for one show in the style of another show with its theme song. You know, and Baywatch has a cool theme song, "I'll Be There For You," and some of the, and I sort of, it would be hard for me to do a side-by-side comparison like I did with the Superman trailer, because I borrowed elements from a few different Baywatch season openers. They changed their style throughout the seasons, and I borrowed a few different ones. My goal was to get as many of the Star Trek Voyager crew as I could that were half naked or wearing Hawaiian shirts or something like that, or casual clothes, and make it look like they were all at a beach party. So was I successful? I don't know, but at least I got Janeway running in slow motion. So there you go. Not as big of a hit as the next gen video. And then at that point, it looks like it was another year before I was making stuff again. I don't know why I took all the breaks, but I should add, after this point, with the mashups, I came out with a few more little albums that I put together, mixed discs for my friends. I did Mashups #2, and then I did a disc of Halloween music. I did a disc of Christmas music. I did Valentine's Day, and I did 4th of July, Independence Day, songs based around that. I tried to sort of create a song, only except for the Christmas one. I don't think I contributed anything to the Christmas song other than just curating a list of obscurities, you know. But I did a mashup for one of the Valentine's Days, and I did a weird mashup for the Independence Day, and just a weird little audio edit for the Halloween. So there's a lot of little mashup things that I haven't ever put onto YouTube yet. I probably should do that soon. There's at least one song I probably will put on there, But that brings me to my next video for my channel, which was the 2 spins round the record. This is just another obvious mashup, just like Vanilla Ice. I still didn't have access to clean vocal tracks or clean music tracks, except for karaoke-style instrumentals. And this was a case where Jessica Simpson had taken the music from the old song, "You Spin Me Round Like a Record," from Dead or Alive, and she had created a whole new song with new lyrics, but the same music. So then I thought, well, of course I could mash those together. But I don't know why, but I found the Danzel version instead of the Dead or Alive version. I think I just liked his vocals better. I thought it matched better, but I listened to these different versions, and I thought you could sort of have, since it's like a love song, a romance song, you could kind of have a back and forth. The man has the verse, and then the woman has the verse, and they kind of go back and forth, like they're courting each other or something. So that was kind of the inspiration for that mashup, and that's why I called it 2 spins round, because it's 2 different artists. But of course I had the Dead or Alive backbeat in there throughout the whole song, and I had a little Pete Burns vocal in the middle. So it's not really just 2, it's more like 2.5. That was one. Unfortunately, I didn't put together a video because I think the Danzel video was fairly limited, and Jessica Simpson never did a video for it, so that was one reason. I tried submitting it to Mashup Charts, and I don't think it ever got approved because it didn't have a real video. The video I made for YouTube was just showing my timeline and my audio editing system and how I cut together the different music tracks. I thought that would be sort of interesting. My next video must have come to me in a fever dream. I don't know why I put these 2 songs together. Man of Constant Sorrow and Eminem's Lose Yourself. I don't know why. For some reason I just heard the songs and I heard them in my head, and they just went together in my head, and I thought I would see if I could put it together. And this was the first time I actually was able to find a clean vocal track on the Eminem song, so that made it much easier. People seem to kind of sort of like it, but I never heard much on it. I don't get very many comments. I still get a ton of comments on Ice Under Pressure and on Star Trek Next Generation Dallas, but no comments on 8 Miles of Constant Sorrow or anything like that. Also on Mashup Charts, also didn't place very high. I think it's at 2,700 now or something like that. So it was fun, but kind of weird. And then I took a longer break than I expected, about 5 years. Just doing work. I met my wife in that time, and other things got in the way, and I kind of stopped doing videos. So, and then I finally started working on one thing that I'd been working on for a long time, which I will talk about in my next video, which was Star Battle, which was a childhood story I had written, which I, over the years, had thought about animating, and finally did. It took me about a year, and came out about 5 years after my last mashup video, 8 Miles of Constant Sorrow. So, next time I'll talk more about that and what Fanboy Films is and how it came to be.